Hello, my dear friends. I'm Stanislav Shamayev, a licensed business immigration and corporate attorney in Miami, Florida. And today we're actually going to be talking more about the corporate side of my corporation. I will be discussing a topic with you: developing business in the States and which type of entity to choose in order to do business here in the US. We will also touch on different immigration programs that can be used to do business in the States and also be able to work here, to live here and work. At the end of this video, you will be able to learn how to get a free evaluation of your cases for business visas. Let's go! And as always, guys, you know what to do. Smash that like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel, because that way I know that you like my content. And of course, my content is the best among all immigration attorneys. So basically, you're watching the best content in the universe right now. If you want me to shoot videos on a particular subject, you can always drop a comment like, hey Stanislav, can you elaborate more on this, or can you shoot a video on that? And of course, I always look at your comments, and you guys see that I always reply to your comments. If there is a missed comment from you in the past, drop it under this video. I'll get back to you, I promise. That not only helps you to understand some topics better, but it also helps everybody else who watching my channel, who wants to know how to immigrate to the States, because I create a better content with more details, more specific, addressing your questions. A specific topic of today's video is how to properly choose what kind of entity to pick in order to develop your business better in the States. And of course, this topic is much more complicated than it may seem when you watch the video, because there's a lot of things involved. What type of business is that? Which state you want to incorporate? Are you going to use that company for immigration purposes? How much money are you planning to make in the beginning? Are you planning to bring the investment to the company? Are you doing the business by yourself or with partners? There's a lot of things involved in the decision. However, there is a simplistic way to understand, if you don't know anything, what type of entity is probably better for you. Let's start with how many are there? How many type of entities are in the US corporate law? So there is a bunch, but we're gonna talk in details about only two, C corporation and LLC. There is partnership, there is a limited partnership, there is a limited partnership, there's limited partnership, there is joint venture, there is profit share agreements. There's a bunch of stuff out there that could be a good fit to you, and to be able to learn which one of them is the best, of course, you need to consult the professional. It could be a CPA, the licensed accountant, or the business attorney, right? Today is more general for you to understand which one is better, LLC or corporate C, but just know that there is a bunch more. What's the difference between LLC and C corporation? Let's talk about four main things you need to consider before choosing your entity. Number one, taxation. You know, in the States we all pay taxes, and of course the companies also pay taxes. However, as far as I know, in any states in the US, no matter which state you incorporated, LLC does not pay taxes. It's so-called pass-through entity. So you probably heard the term before. That means that all the profits that come to the company, they stream right through the company to the owner or owners, and split between them as distribution or the salary, whatever the structure of the company is. So LLC is not being taxed as a company. And this is a great advantage for smaller businesses and businesses that don't plan to make at least 100,000 profit, the net profit, right? After all the deductions, all the expenses. So LLC is really good and simple for those of you who are like just small company and no perspective in the near future to make a lot of money as a profit, right? So you're thinking you're gonna start slow and maybe in 5-10 years you're gonna make money, whatever that is. When you look at C corporation and you're like, Stanislav, I know corporation, why are you saying C corporation? Does it have any specific meaning? Of course, in the legal field everything has a meaning. There is C corporation, there is S corporation. And for our purposes, we're not going to talk about S corporation because foreigners cannot incorporate S corporation. They can do only C corporation. So that's why there is no need to discuss S corporation, although the S corporation, I think, is the best type of entity in the United States of America for the purpose of taxes. But we're limited to C corporation, so there you go. It has a double taxation, meaning that the corporation has to pay the taxes on the profit that when the money enter the company, and then also the taxes when the company distributed to the owners. So that's called a double taxation. And this sounds really scary, like, oh my God, who in the world is going to do C corporation if you can do LLC and not to have double taxation? That's right, it's the right approach, it's the right thinking. But if you actually do the calculations, if you do the math, and you cross that line of $100,000 net profit of the company, then the C corporation and LLC, they pretty much pay, like the owners of the company pretty much pay the same taxes. I'm not going to bother you with math, but just take my word on that. Everything above 100K in profit, C corporation is better and more flexible. In the case of C corporation, you don't have to distribute the profit on the second level of taxation at the end of each year. Meaning you can keep that money in the company and either reinvest it or maybe distribute later. And also the losses in the C corporation could be deducted from the future profit. For example, if the C corporation lost $1 million in 2022 and in 2023 the C corporation made $2 million, that $2 million is going to be offset by $1 million loss from the previous year. I think it's a really good example. In LLC, and that way in an S corporation, whatever profit is made particular year has to be taxed, meaning that you can still keep it in the company, but you have to pay the taxes on that, right? So you either distribute it to yourself or you keep it in the company, but IRS wants the money from you. There are pluses and minuses in taxation, and of course, this is just a tip of an iceberg, right? If you think what I told you is a lot, tiny tip of the iceberg, and there's a lot below the water. So please consult the licensed CPA or a tax attorney who are gonna give you a better breakdown between LLC and a C corporation, but just know the basic differences. And also, don't forget that that some states has an additional tax on the profit of C corporations. So you have to also look carefully which state you incorporate your company in. Number two, the structure are really different between LLC and a corporation. It's much easier in an LLC because LLC could be a member managed or manager managed. That's basically the two types of controlling and directing the LLC. If it's a member managed, that means that the owners of the company actually manage the company. So that's all it means. The manager managed LLC, meaning that the owners of the company hire the managers. They also could be managers, temporary managers, who direct and control the LLC, right? So this is a very simple structure. When we talk about C corporation, and just corporation in general, this is a really complicated structure. First of all, you have the shareholders, the people who actually own the stock in the company. There's a million stocks, and it's 50-50. One guy owns 500,000 stocks, the other one owns the other 500,000 stocks. So it's all good, they're shareholders. The second level is a board of directors. So the shareholders, they hire the directors. They could be themselves, right? So the shareholders could be also directors, but they also could hire different directors. So there should be at least one director, but it depends on the state. So usually the minimum requirement for the director is one, but it could be up to 3, right? So you need to check the state where you incorporate your corporation to see the exact number of directors that need to be in one corporation. So this is the second level of the corporation. And the directors, they're usually responsible for strategical development of the company, right? Like the policies, the directions, like big things. And the third level are the officers. The directors, they appoint officers like president, vice president, treasurer, whatever that is. There could be a lot of positions. And the officers, they actually do the operational control of the company. They actually operate the company, right? So with a different level of hierarchy. So, and for each of these levels, there is a paperwork. There's a shareholder agreement, there's a board of director rules, and there is bylaws that control the officers. So there's a bunch of paperwork, and this is much more complicated. Usually, the C corporation is really good when you want to bring the future investment in your company, because the investors really like the C corp because they know what type of stocks they have and things like that. So this is the second thing you have to consider when choosing between LLC and C corp. Number 3, the control of the company. And again, this streams from the second thing, the second concept, the corporate structure. So now, if you are the owner of the corporation, then your control goes this way. If you're a shareholder, you appoint the directors, and then directors appoint the officers. So you don't have the actual control over the operations of the company, because that's under the directors' responsibilities, and directors control the officers. So you have to be ready that, okay, if you have some ideas, if you have something you want to implement, then you have to go through the directors. And if the directors don't do what you want, which often could be the case, because that's why there is this structure in the company, then you have to change the director or directors, and there is a process for that. You have less control of the operations of the company when we talk about a C corp, which could be a good thing, because sometimes the shareholders, they have no idea what's going on. They are not in the company, they don't understand the process. So it's good to have different layers of control so those shareholders don't mess up the company. When we talk about LLC, this is much simpler. Yes, it's possible to create the same structure in the LLC as in a corporation artificially. You still can do the same thing in LLC as you do in a C corp, but you don't have to, right? And because you don't have to, you kind of either manage the company yourself, or you have the direct control over people who manage the company. It's easier to be closer to the operations of the business. And again, depending on the business, it could be a good or a bad thing. Number 4, are you going to use this company for the immigration purposes or you won't? In other words, are you going to use L1 visa, E2 visa, O1 visa, EB5 visa for this company, or you simply want to have that company to do the commerce and you don't care about moving to the States or getting the work visa? And of course, I'm not going to go deep in analyzing each visa and like which company is better for one or another, but I just need to plant that seed in your brain so you know before incorporating. You actually have to know answer to this question, because if you do certain mistakes in the beginning, there could be no fix for them. You will have to spend more money and incorporate and dissolve the prior company. So just put that in your head that if you're aiming at E2 visa, you need to first pay attention to the control of the company, who's going to control it. You cannot control less than 50% of the company, and how you're going to bring the money in that company, because we need to show the origin of funds. If it's L1 visa, you have to look really carefully at the structure and control of the business, who is controlling what, who is directing who, and the hierarchy of that company. If it's O1 visa, there's probably no concerns, right? This O1 is pretty flexible. If it's EB5 visa, then you also have to look at the structure, who is controlling who, and how you bring the investment in this company. And this is really important because we're talking about $1 million plus in most of the cases. If you are planning to come to the States and incorporate, and you want to use one of the business visas that I mentioned to come here and work and maybe get a green card, you can get a free evaluation of your case for L1 E2 visa. That's one evaluation. EB5 is a second evaluation, and O1 is the third. So how to do that? Go down below this video, find the links that are connected to the questionnaires for business visas, for investment visa, and for talent visa, and fill out those questionnaires so I could take a look at them and give you a free analysis within 48 hours. So please do a good work. Give me as many details as you can. And if I see the potential in your case, I will invite you to the immigration planning, where we will be discussing the strategy of your case and the type of incorporation you will need to do for this particular visa. Please smash that like button, subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on Instagram and my TikTok, all the links below this video. I am Stanislav Shamayev, a lawyer of the future. Your future begins here. Good luck.